When we were growing up, a couple of ways that we evaluated whether or not you were a man was based off of women and money. If you got both, you winning. If you got one, you still winning. And as you get older, specifically as a man, you go through certain experiences where you start to adjust and fine tune and reevaluate what it means to be a man. But one thing seems to never go away. And that thing is you being evaluated as to whether or not you're a real man based off of how you perform in the bedroom. And so in our minds, like, that thing lingers. It lingers, it's always there. But what happens when your man ain't manning the way your man used to man? I mean, it can thrust you into a tailspin where you are driving yourself crazy. You feel confused. You feel less of a man. You feel overwhelmed. You feel frustrated. You feel embarrassed. You feel ashamed. You become intimacy avoidant. You're not necessarily pursuing in the way in which you used to. You start to seek external measures for attention, gratification, validation. And as a result, like, it puts a wedge in your relationship with your wife. And so if that happens to be you, if you find yourself in a space where your man ain't manning the way your man used to man, then what I want to say is, bruh, you're not alone. You're not alone. I highly encourage you to get help, and also highly encourage you to communicate with your wife about what's going on. If you've built up a relationship where there's trust, where there's safety, trust and believe, like, she wants to know what's happening. She senses it. If you used to be on her 24/7, now you ain't on her at all. If you pull back dramatically when it comes to that piece, then, you got to have a conversation. You got to communicate. I understand the hesitancy, the reluctancy, but you owe it to her, fam. You're in a relationship with her, and just as you can recall having needs and wanting those needs to be fulfilled, she got needs too. And she wants to know what's happening. So I encourage you to open up, communicate, be vulnerable, and then after you have the conversations, take the necessary steps to address it. Like, it's one thing to talk about it, it's one thing to discuss it, but get into action, fam. Intimacy is important in a relationship, and we're not just talking about mental and emotional and spiritual, we're talking about physical too. Your woman wants to be connected with you in a particular way. And if you're allowing the shame and embarrassment to block the intimacy in that way, then you're doing yourself and your relationship a disservice.